Orangutan crossing.
This thing's actually sick.
Oh my god, 1 a.m. coming back. We've got a blood python. What the?
Alright, so we've finally made it to Borneo. It's been a long time coming, but we're in the jungles of Borneo now. We had about 2 full days of travel to get out here, and it was hell, but we're here, and that's the main thing. We're starting off the trip on the Kinabatangan River in northeast Borneo, where we're going to be looking for orangutans. That's the main thing that we've come out here to see, orangutans and proboscis monkeys. I am so excited to see what's in store for us this trip. I've wanted to come to Borneo my entire life, and it just feels so surreal to finally be in the jungle. It is so hot. It's so much hotter than I thought. I expected it to be warm, but I didn't expect it to be this hot. It's mid-30s, a little bit of rain coming through as well this afternoon, which should bump up the humidity. So we'll fast forward to the action. We started off the following morning nice and early for our first attempt at seeing orangutans while exploring the Kinabatangan River. This is the second longest river in Malaysia, and it homes a diverse range of rare and endemic wildlife. Along the river, there are numerous villages and communities, and it's really interesting to see how people interact with the wildlife in the area. The morning kicked off with the ever-common long-tailed macaque. These primates are often encountered along mangroves and shorelines, foraging for crabs, which is where they get their other name, the crab-eating macaque. They're probably the most common primate that we saw throughout our time in Southeast Asia. Shortly after the macaques, we spotted this big Asian water monitor that had just woken up on this log by the river. These impressive reptiles are the world's second largest lizards, and they can grow to over 3 meters. This was the first time that I'd seen this species, and despite being very common, they were something that I'd really hoped to see on our trip. Thankfully, throughout the course of our whole trip, we got to see heaps, but surprisingly, this was the only one that I took photos of. He pretty quickly got tired of us and casually just strolled back into the jungle. Next up was the infamous saltwater crocodile, the world's largest reptile. I was surprised by how strong the density of crocodiles was along the Kinabatangan River. We saw countless on the morning cruise, and the sizes varied from this big unit here right down to the little mud geckos that were scuttling along the banks. After we got off the boat, we managed to see a few of these Asian black hornbills. This was a big target, and I was really stoked to see this bird. They're an iconic Bornean species, and it was awesome to see these right next to our accommodation. I got enough. Sure. They've got that big strong beak that enables them to feed on the larger fruits and figs and stuff, but they have been observed eating vertebrates before, and strangely, they've been seen eating microbats at the mouths of caves before. We had limited time on the Kinabatangan to see orangutans, so after the morning cruise, we decided to head out by ourselves on a trail that had some recent orangutan sightings. And after the walk, we decided to road cruise through the jungle for a bit to see what we could turn up. We ended up flipping this big Asian forest scorpion under a concrete slab as well. I was pretty scared of this one at first, but we ended up becoming good friends by the end of it. These were heaps common through the jungles of Borneo, and they get massive compared to any scorpions that I've seen back home. Usually I'm pretty scared of bugs, but this thing's actually sick. Mating pair of drainage pipes. Look at that. While lapping the road after our unproductive walk, these yellow-throated martins kept appearing on the road in the same spot. So we parked the car and waited for them to come back out to get some footage. Stopping for these is probably the only reason that we were able to see what happens next.
Wow! Orangutan crossing. Oh, wow. That was a freaking huge. Another one. Where? Holy fuck. So we were driving the road back out, and I spotted a huge water monitor sitting in the middle of the road. Looked behind him, and this massive male orangutan was crossing the road behind him. And then on this side, there's another small one as well. Look at him, he's shaking all the branches. Hell, that's insane. Oh my god.
I think this goes down as the coolest animal encounter that I've ever had. Seeing this massive male orangutan on the road was actually insane. He stayed put about 10 metres up the tree with a female on the opposite side, and he was continually shaking the branches and snapping large sticks trying to warn us off. The female came out into a little clearing and watched us for a little while before they both ascended further into the canopy. It's pretty eye-opening driving out to the Kinabatangan River as the extent of habitat destruction becomes clear. Palm oil plantations are responsible for around 80% of the lush jungle that the orangutans call home to be cleared. So much of the jungle has been cleared right down to a few kilometres from the Kinabatangan River. This restricts a lot of the animals to the corridor of remaining jungle that runs parallel with the river, and this is why the river is such a hot spot for wildlife. There are currently 3 recognised orangutan species, but this one is the Bornean orangutan. And after they both ascended further into the canopy, we started heading back to the river for an afternoon cruise. Absolutely stoked with the outcome of the day's walk. On the way back, we spotted this very underweight wild dog, and it was eating a dead Sumatran cobra that was killed by a car. The first find of the afternoon was a bunch of these southern pig-tailed macaques. It was pretty cool watching this mum and her baby for a while before we headed further down the river. We then got onto our second biggest target for the area, which was the proboscis monkey. These endangered primates are endemic to Borneo and have some very, very dopey faces. Those large noses are bigger in males, and the size correlates to the amount of testosterone they have. The most dominant males in the area will have the largest noses. Unfortunately, we didn't get any good pics of these guys, but it was cool enough just having a look at them. We were also lucky enough to see one more orangutan from a distance. This one was building its nest to shelter in for the night. Orangutans are known to build nests every single night. As the sun went down, we jumped off the boat and geared up for a big night of herping.
Alright, this is our lodge. We've got a full moon, but we're going to go have dinner, and then we're heading out to a really good spot for vipers, and I'm very hopeful that we're going to have some luck tonight. What do you say about that?
Might find our first snake of the trip.
Cruising on dusk while we're waiting for dinner, and then we're going to head out to the viper spot. And it's a 2-hour drive to the viper spot, so we're going to get there a little bit later, but that's not really too much of an issue. Cruising through the agricultural areas, hopefully we'll have some luck, but we probably won't because Borneo road cruising is very slow. Oh, I've been walking around for what feels like forever without seeing a thing. We've got the first reptile sleeping a gamete on this branch, but we're going to get down an ID in a second. Oh, that's awesome. So this looks like a green crested lizard, Bronchoscilla cristatella. They're a pretty common agamid throughout Southeast Asia. We were lucky enough to see a few of these in Bali last year. And you probably will notice as well, he's browned up a lot. His colours have gone a lot darker since we picked him up. It's a defence mechanism that a lot of agamids do. And it's kind of annoying when you want to get photos of a beautifully coloured dragon because they'll just change their colours so quickly. But who cares? That is the first find of the night, and I am stoked. Alright, so this big bopper is a green-eyed gecko. This is a species I was really hoping to see. These things are massive. They get bigger than tokay geckos, and this thing is so impressive. Look at that beautiful green eye on him. Oh my god, this is sick. And you can see he's got that little bit of shed coming off his tail. These things have sharp claws, and he's just gripping onto my hand right now. Like tokays, they've got a heap strong bite. They're in the same genus, and I know tokays have a horrible bite, and considering the fact that these things get bigger, I can put 2 and 2 together, and I'd imagine that these ones are not fun. I'm not going to find out, but this thing is stunning. Oh my god, that is
awesome. His eye shine was massive on this wooden post. I'm going to take a few camera photos and we're going to let him go. But how good is that? All right, look at this. The first snake of the night's made an appearance. Striped bronzeback or Dendrolephis quarterlineatus. This is only a youngster and he is in shed. I'm just going to take a couple of in-hand photos and I'll come back shortly. Tiny little youngster in shed. Its colours aren't very flash at the moment, but it is a snake. We're on the board. Finally, we're starting to get a bit stressed. Just as we're about to leave, we've finally gotten on the board with a snake, but that'll probably be it for tonight. I don't want to hassle this little youngster too much more, so gonna put him back on his leaf out here. There you go, mate. To be honest, I'd accepted defeat on the Viper front. It was late and we had a 2-hour drive back to our accommodation and we had to be up early in the morning. So I was just sleeping in the front seat. And we're about 400 meters from our front door when I woke to this. Oh my God, 1 a.m. coming back. We've got a blood python. What the He is warm. Holy fuck. One of the rarest snakes in Borneo. Oh my God, I'm getting half asleep and hallucinating. Holy shit. That's sick. All right, so this is crazy. This is the first significant snake of the night. We're like 400 meters from our accommodation. We went for a 2-hour drive to go to this mad herp spot. Least expecting it. I'm dozing asleep in the front seat and just looked up ahead and this blood python is sitting, this Bornean short-tailed python is sitting on the road with this owl as well, just like staring at it on the road as well. This is insane. This is so sick. These things are so weird. Like, they're literally like a death adder as a python. They strike so fast with so much power and it's really intimidating. And I'd actually hate to get bitten by one. I don't think it'd be fun at all. But this is crazy. This is such a good find. We've had 2 nights here, and each of those nights we've started off on dusk, road cruising this bit, saying we were hoping for Bornean short-tailed pythons or spitting cobras, the 2 that are common in the agricultural areas. You can see we've got the cane grass and stuff around here. We're not in the rainforest. You don't usually get these in that sort of rainforest. They prefer the agricultural areas. It's quite a dark looking one. They can get a lot more red colored, but I do not care. This is such a cool find. I'm stoked. All right, releasing this this short-tailed python now. He was heading off this way. So we're gonna put him in the cane grass on this side of the road. All right, so that is part 1 of the Borneo trip done. We didn't even really get to start the real herping. If you like that, you're gonna love what's to come, so stay tuned.